The parts of you that you are avoiding are the things you need to heal the most. The things that are going to get you into that quantum leap mode, going to get you into that next version of yourself, that up level. It's in what you're avoiding.
You are always attracting energy into your life. The question is, what can you be mindful about attracting? I'm Shannon Bills, mindset mentor, energy healer, and intuitive reader. And today, we're having mindfulness for breakfast.
Good morning, you guys. I don't know what we're in for today. There might be tears. There might be screams. But you are catching me right now in a real-time up level, and it is so uncomfortable. Let me take you back to some of my old moments of shifting and healing and shedding old layers of myself in order to step into this new version of who I am, because there's been a few. The biggest ones that I can remember. One was when I decided to leave casting. For those of you that don't know, I was an associate casting director for almost 8 years of my adult life. I thought that was my career path, and my intuition told me otherwise. I had these strong gut feelings for many years as to why I actually shouldn't be in casting and why I should be my own boss. And it started out in journal entries. One of these episodes, I will grab one of my old journals and share with you what that looked like, the thoughts that were in my head, because I didn't just flat out see my vision right away, which is why when someone comes to me and says, I don't actually know what I want, I say, that's okay. That needs to build. Let what you want be a thing that builds over time. And what was building for me was understanding energy and understanding that I am in an industry that really could use some of this deep-rooted work. Every industry can use this work. It's mindset and energy work is for anybody, but I've been in the entertainment industry my entire life. It is the only talk I know how to talk, but I also know how to talk in terms of mindset and energy. And so to me, it's like this perfect pairing of, ooh, this is who I'm meant to help. I know that is what my soul came here to do, is to help heal Hollywood in this way. But I'm here to help everybody on this journey because we're not meant to do it alone, ever. One of the hardest things that I had to go through was this breakup with my old identity, this breakup with me being a casting director. And that day was really hard for me. It was a really hard breakup because I thought there was a world where my gut feelings, which was you're meant to start something on your own, you're meant to build a beautiful business, you're meant to help millions of people. I thought that could go hand in hand with me being able to cast TV shows and work full-time as a casting director. There was this world where I'm like, oh, I can have all of this. But in my gut, I knew my intuition was like, no, you need to just take this leap, start your own thing, trust this own thing you're building. It might be a slow build, but trust it. We got you. This is what's correct for you. But my ego was like, I really don't want to let go of casting, though. It was something I loved. It was something I was good at. It was something that was fun. That was very hard to give up. My ego was like, I don't know, why can't we just do both? And I actually tried to do both. I remember having a conversation with my old casting directors and seeing if there's a world I could do both, and maybe having some coaching hours in the early morning and the really late evening while I kept my essentially 9-to-5 schedule in casting. And it just didn't work out. That was like one up level I went through. Another one was last summer. I just was feeling so crippled in fear around money. Money was the thing last year. Money is the thing this year too, but like in a different way of how I'm showing up for myself and how I'm valuing myself and what I choose to receive. That's where I'm at now. But last year was more, why is this happening to me? Why do we have so much credit card debt? Why do we have all these weddings? And I feel like there's no money coming in. It's just always coming out. And it was just, I was not fun now that I think about it. But a lot of this was inner dialogue in my head while still holding true to who I am and what I do and what I'm moving through, and that will always be me. And that's what you signed up for when you liked or subscribed to this podcast. It's me healing in real time with you, and that is how I've always been, and every single client of mine will know what I am moving through in that exact moment, because it's helpful to share that information. You feel less alone with that information. You can learn something. And right before I got on this podcast, I was spiraling in my own thoughts. And I was like, you know what? I'm shutting the blinds. Gonna turn my mic on, gonna turn my camera on, shut the blinds, turn the lights on. And then I just press record and I'm like, okay, here we go. Because yes, I'm gonna be journaling about this later, but I think it's helpful for you to see where my head is at and what growth actually looks like and feels like when you're moving through it. Last summer, I was in sad girl vibes. I'm like, I am someone that eats, sleeps, breathes abundance. Like, why don't I have the apartment of my dreams yet? Everything was just, I felt like I outgrew it. The best way I could describe it, like crabs shedding off their old shells. That's what it felt like last summer. And that's what it feels like right now. I imagine that's maybe got to be painful for a crab. Maybe it's not. I don't really know what I'm talking about in that sense, but you get what I'm saying. Just ugly shedding, growth, like old habits and mindsets and beliefs that you were once comfortable with, you've outgrown. This new version of you that you were meant to step into, she subscribes to a different narrative. She operates in a different way. She charges differently. She receives money differently. And that is where I am at right now, feeling really uncomfortable with stepping into this new version of myself. One of my friends who is intuitive, I think I've shared with you guys how we kind of piggyback off of each other and give each other intuitive business advice week to week, and it is beyond helpful. She told me that this new version of me has outgrown the prices that I charge and has outgrown the way that she does things and the way that she is available to people. Because right now, guys, like yesterday, I had a 9-hour Zoom day. I had 9 hours of sessions and I'm starting to get burnt out. And I've hit my cap in what I can make in this capacity. What is the universe going to ask you to do? It's going to ask you to grow. It's going to ask you to raise your prices. It's going to ask you to rearrange how you're available to people. It's going to rearrange your own beliefs and how you view yourself and what gifts you have to offer people. And that is where I'm at right now. Just clinging on to this, I need to understand my worth and my value, and everything else will fall in place. Like this surrendering energy. That is what my higher self is asking me to do. This is what an up level looks like. This is what a quantum leap is like. When you are in it, you're getting all these ideas. You're feeling pretty chaotic all around you because you know what you have to do. You have to change. You might even know what things you need to change, but actually doing it is where I'm getting like itchy right now. I can even talk about it. I could talk about it with you guys forever and ever. I will tell you every single detail of my life. That's not the hard part. The hard part is sitting pen to paper, looking at your belief, looking where it stemmed from, releasing that old version of yourself. That's the hard part that I've been avoiding the last few days. And that's really where the work is. The parts of you that you are avoiding are the things you need to heal the most, the things that are going to get you into that quantum leap mode, going to get you into that next version of yourself, that up level. It's in what you're avoiding. And that's what I'm avoiding in this moment. I had no plans to record a podcast today, but I did have plans to do pen to paper journaling and just letting some of this old me die. I asked higher self, what is going to get me excited about this? Because in this moment, I don't want to tackle that. That's the last thing I want to do, even though I know it's what I have to do. And my higher self said, Shannon, March 2020 was when I broke up with my old casting office, when I broke up with my identity of being an associate casting director. And I wrote something to myself, and I haven't read it since then. I'm going to pull it up in my phone. I'm going to read it with you in real time. We're going to see what it brings. Let's go on this journey together, everyone. So this was June 23rd, 2020. I'm going to set the scene. First few months of the pandemic, industry shut down. There was no TV, there was no movies, there was no commercials. The whole industry shut down. There was no work for anyone. For me, it's the universe handing me this is your golden ticket. Do this. Start your coaching business. Because right now there is no casting business. So in a way, I was like, this is easy. This is what I meant to do. Literally, first week of the pandemic is when I started my coaching business. It's when I put out my Instagram. It's when I made a website. It's when I put out my offerings. And it took off really quickly. But then shows started to come back by summer. Production started to slowly happen. And a show that I was working on, it was called Keenan on NBC with Keenan Thompson. I was working on that for a very long time. That was one of those shows that it took years to cast. I'm not even kidding. It took us, I want to say, almost 2 years to cast it. And it was coming back. And this was in June. And I remember that week, this is June 23rd, 2020, was when my bosses first called me being like, hey, are you coming back? What are you doing? And that was the point where I was met with, we either jump, let the net appear and trust that, or we stay comfortable, stop the coaching business and go back to casting. I decided to jump. I'm going to take a little sip of water before I read this to you. June 23rd, 2020. Today is the day I officially closed a chapter in my life. Casting. I literally have a lump in my throat and tears down my face. But this is what trusting looks like. This is what knowing feels like, that I'm meant to take this leap of faith. The universe shows me signs every day that I am in my soul's purpose. And it's hard. It's definitely hard, but it also feels so right. Could I have sent back a text saying I'll drop everything and come back to them since that meant a steady paycheck and comfort? Sure. But that would delay my purpose. That would delay my desires in my heart. I'm doing what's best for me. And because I let go of that, I am creating more abundance. Abundance of time, abundance of clients, abundance of money. I am 4 months into starting my business. Still paying off a wedding. Trying to save for a house. And I quit this job. I put my trust into the universe. What's funny is I literally wrote this message on my Instagram today. I like who I'm becoming. This last year, and especially these last few months, I've made some big moves. I've committed to the best version of myself. I've matched my thoughts to my actions. I've closed doors, opened new ones. And as amazing as it sounds, it wasn't easy. This is a daily discipline and a constant grind. But I made a choice the day I said goodbye to settling and faced fear head on. Because here's how life works. A door closes and 3 more open. And what's scarier to you? Going after your goals, which may require getting over some fears, or staying in a place where you don't grow at all. And then I just wrote, let's push through the hard together, shall we? That's what I wrote on Instagram. And then I go back to what I was writing in real time. I wrote this message in a moment where I actually thought that I was returning to casting. It was almost a conflicting message because I was, yes, closing doors in certain ways, but I didn't fully close the door. And an hour later, I got a text from my boss that I wasn't expecting. I thought I would still be set up in a comfortable way to fizzle out my casting job while still working for them, but would like to be part-time. But to them, that wasn't an option, which tells me the universe didn't want this to be an option for me. So just like that, in a 10-minute text exchange, it was done. 7 years of my life. The book was closed and put on the shelf. I think the universe was setting me up for this, not only through quarantine, seeing recurring numbers, having multiple intuitive readers tell me, but this week I was with 2 different people who started their own businesses, dropped everything they knew, and they said it was the best decision of their life. And I know that this is going to be the best decision of mine. This was one of the last steps to let the universe know, hey, I'm ready. I'm excited. I've made room on that runway for new miracles, and now new miracles are going to land. It is time. I didn't cry, but that made me feel really good. That just brought me back to this energy of I trust that I can jump and the net will appear. And yes, I'm not starting a new business right now, but this is what upleveling feels like. It's like this big, scary thing that you got to move through. Maybe it is you having been in a relationship with somebody that you know is not good for you, and the uncomfortable thing is the breakup. Maybe it is leaving a job that you know is not in the cards for you in your future. In my case, in this moment, maybe it's learning to trust that everything I've laid down these last almost 5 years of my business have set me up for this exact moment. Charging what I'm worth, rooting to new ways of giving and receiving, allowing that flow to come in and trusting that. So all of these feelings that I'm feeling today, I call this a growth spurt. You always hear that word, growth spurt, but you think about it when you're a kid. Find these uncomfortable, itchy moments, these things that we are avoiding. We're shedding it. We're talking about the crab in its shell. We're shedding that off. We're stepping into a whole new space, a whole new energy, a whole new vibe. But we can only step into that new space when we tackle the thing that we are avoiding. And for me, I am avoiding the messy work of pen to paper in my journal, getting clear on who I am, getting clear on the value that I provide, seeing myself through such a beautiful magnetic lens. That is what I need to be stepping into, this next version of myself. I want you to just think about where I'm at. And maybe there's a version of you that you're avoiding, that's making you itchy like I am right now, where I know I'm going to have a nice long journal session when I end this recording. I'm trying to think of a breakfast item today. What is the work that you are avoiding? And what's the heart's version of this thing that you're avoiding? What is the mind's version of this thing that you are avoiding? I want you to look at what is in your heart versus what is in your head, because they're two very different things. To me, your heart is your gut. It's from your higher self. It's this inner knowing, where the head is where all the fears are. It's all the reasons why you shouldn't be doing something. It's coming from your ego. It can get very loud. It can get very busy. See if you can put together what the actual truth is and what the call to action is that the universe is wanting you to heal, what the universe is wanting you to rise up from. Sit with that today, and I will talk to you soon.